Go 95.3, I'm Chaz Kangas, and joining me right now, the world's strongest man, former world heavyweight champion, and perhaps the single best regularly dressed person ever on WWE television. He's going to be here this weekend for Galaxycon in Minneapolis at the Minnesota Convention Center. Mark Henry. Mark, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. What a unbelievable entrance, man. You come on now. You're making me feel too good.
Oh, well, it's you deserve to feel. You've earned it, and how can I? It's the way we got to do it. You got to make sure, especially give you that Minnesota nice welcome as you're coming into town. So, yeah. So I'm really looking.
I got to ask you, how's the weather there? So, being that I'm well dressed man, I need to know what the weather's like.
I will say it's the best it's been in about 6 weeks. Like we're right now in about the high 30s up to mid 40s sort of mark. So you're not, and there's been no snow that's been staying on the ground yet. So
there'll be no shorts and flip flops, as you're saying.
More than likely not. If it's an endurance test, I'm sure you could still find a way to pull it off and scare the cold off you. But yeah, it should be not so much the pool weather. It's probably going to be closed. So
okay, well I guess I'll put a sweater on.
Gotcha. Cool. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to seeing you this weekend. Longtime fan of your work, and I know you've been doing a lot of these conventions more recently. What's your favorite part about doing these appearances at these conventions?
You know what? I could just tell you a bunch of bull and say that I really just enjoy the fans, but I'm a fan too. So I get there, and I always run into a comic book writer or somebody, an artist, a graphic novel artist, somebody. I met Kevin Conroy. I mean, like, you just walking around and you're seeing people that you've idolized in the voice world and comics, and that's the best part. But the fans are right there. I mean, you meet people that are truly fans of yours. They know all your vital statistics. They know where you won your titles, and it's hard to beat that, people that admire you like that.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially with someone like you who has had a career like on screen with WWE going back to '96, and really that long-standing longevity and getting to grow up with you through all the different iterations and the parts of you that have gotten to show and shine. And on top of that, there's been a lot of interesting merchandise released with you throughout the years. So when you've been at these conventions, what's the most interesting piece of merchandise or perhaps interesting side thing of memorabilia you've ever gotten to sign?
Well, this one person, I did this thing in Life magazine called Naked Power and Amazing Grace. And it was all Olympic athletes in 1992 that were competing in the games that were kind of the notables. And, they got the body, issue now in Sports Illustrated. It was like that. And some guy did a drawing. Like, he drew the picture in his artwork and wanted me to sign it. And, it's not often you get a guy come up and say, hey, man, I got this naked picture of you I want you to sign.
Wow.
So that was kind of like one that took me aback a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can honestly say that's never happened to me yet. So, wow, that's yeah. Yeah, but I'm sure the effort that went into that too. So, wow, cool. It was
unbelievable. It looked just like the picture.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And were they cool about it then too?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just the people were cool. I mean, I met a guy that was completely tattooed. His hairline, his sideburns, were all tattooed on. His eyebrows were tattooed, and his entire body, other than about a 2-inch piece of his body, was tattooed. Feet, hands, everything. And I was like, wow. Now that was pretty. He was like, you want to see, you want to see my lower half? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Just leave your clothes on.
Well, yeah, I can imagine if at some point when you run out of things you want to put on your body, I wonder if he has like a tiny Waldo somewhere just for the sake of, appearances. Yeah. Yeah. So here at Go, we are a hip hop station, and we also throw a lot of concerts. And this February, we're actually bringing back for a reunion concert, 3-6 Mafia, who famously did your theme. Somebody's gonna get their explicit deleted kicked right after they won the Oscar. So, what were your interactions like working with 3-6 Mafia and having them make your entrance theme?
Man, it was really cool, and I've met them several times since then, and they've always been cool. But like you said, they won an Oscar. They were the hottest thing out at that time, and it was a simple case of, hey man, let's talk for a minute, and we spoke probably for about 30, 45 minutes, and what you hear is what they got out of the conversation that we had. And Juicy J, man, you talk about a guy that is very accomplished and very cool. I met him in Memphis long before he did the song. I didn't even know that the WWE had reached out to them about doing the song. And the edited version and the clean version, somebody's going to get it, is just as cool as the version that I use when I walk into the ring. So, like meeting those guys was cool, and it was good to have a relationship with them before. It made me like them even more.
Nice, yeah. And you mentioned that too. Especially now that I work in radio, going back to their, Tear the Club Up days, like, in the late 90s, they put so much thought into their clean version. So it wouldn't be like we'd throw something on air and it would just wind up sounding like Morse code. Like, yeah, they really seem so thoughtful. And you can definitely hear, and it's cool to hear that they had that conversation with you to really capture the essence of Henry, like right there. So,
yeah, you listen to the words, and it talks about where I'm from. It talks about, kind of my walk. And, what drove me. I was a violent kid growing up because I got picked on a lot. Now, we're in this world now of the anti-bullying campaign. That didn't exist when I was a kid. And, I got in a lot of trouble because rather than using words, I used my fist. And, they understood that because they grew up the same way. And so it was pretty easy to connect, and the byproduct is the fact that I have music that people largely consider still to be the best entrance music ever made.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a regular of the gym workout playlist too. It's there, it's to the point. It's timeless, truly timeless. And
it's timeless. Yeah. It'll definitely get you fired up in the gym too.
Yeah. And speaking of timelessness, you had such a long-standing career, ultimately culminating in that Hall of Fame induction. What did you find as a trick to reinventing yourself and still connecting in so many different ways with the audience?
Our culture has always been something that I admired. I didn't believe in sticking in one place and letting that be, where grass grew around your feet. Like, grass will never grow around my feet. I'm interested in pop culture and knowing what's hot and what's cool and what feels good to everybody. And I'm a hip hop head to my heart, an R&B guy to my heart. But I grew up in Southeast Texas. I listen to country music. I listen to alternative music. I love the mash 'em up type music. You find it a lot with Travis Scott and artists like that. So I tend to kind of want to be at the forefront of pop culture and even some world international music. So I try to keep it. Fluid, man, and not stay the same. And I did the same thing in wrestling. I didn't stay the same, and I understood the history of wrestling, and I knew that there were things that happened in the past that needed to happen in the future. And that's why I was ever evolving, because I understood the history. I see the trends and where it went. And, you know, it was studied. It wasn't by accident.
Absolutely. And so when you were making these plans and with the things that have the recurrent things and bringing them back, one thing you hear a lot about the particular industry is the old adage of turning the personal volume up to 11 and really showing a lot of your own personality in it. And one thing that I remember like earlier on in your career, like right around the late part of the 90s, was the introduction of your character performing poetry, which has been communicated as a personal passion of yours. How did that come about that you started doing poetry on air, and do you still regularly get the chance to write?
I definitely do, man. Just the other day, I had a guy contact me and said, hey, I'd like to do a book with all your poetry. And I was like, get out of here. And he was like, no, I'm serious. He was like, the one that you did when Owen Hart passed was pretty amazing. He said, I wanted to see if, you know, what your catalog was like. And I had to go back and pull my book out. And I just started reading through my stuff. And some of the stuff that I've written, you know, I just forgot, man. You know, it's just like it's something that I loved. I started off rapping when I was in junior high, trying to battle kids in my neighborhood. And it turned into me going through puberty and starting to do poetry for girls. So I definitely enjoy the whole poetry thing. And it looks like here in the future, the fans of wrestling will be able to see the timeline and the things that I've written over my life.
Wow, that's spectacular.
I might hit you with something before I leave.
Oh, yeah, that'd be tremendous. But no, it's really cool when you mentioned having like that sort of that emotional maturity and and the growth from battle rap into poetry. And like I came up in the battle rap circles, and a lot of battle rappers don't ever get to the point of talking to girls. So it shows a certain level of self-awareness and communication. And one really cool thing that you did a couple years back in 2013 when current Cincinnati Bengal Andrew Billings managed to break your powerlifting record is you made it a point to publicly congratulate him and help celebrate that tremendous feat. And I always thought that was a really awesome thing to do. So I'm curious, have you communicated much with Billings in the years since?
I have not, but my family is my in-laws are from Cincinnati, and I actually got to go and see him play. I reached out to him and talked to him on the phone and congratulated him, and that's what records are for. Records are meant to be broken. They put you in a small club of people that achieve greatness, and I wanted him to know that he had somebody that understood how much work he put in, because it was a different time, but I did the same thing. So it was really cool to interact with him.
So it's a wonderful thing. And another famous interaction you had, which we got questions about just being it is such a cult classic film, is your work acting and appearing in Macgruber. What was it like being on the set for that?
Man, it was so cool, man. I enjoyed all my time. Everybody was nice, and it was just really a fun experience in my life, which made me want to do more acting. And since then, I've done some more stuff, and I've enjoyed that as well. I just hope that it comes a little bit more frequent. I'm doing some stuff that is kind of like off the beaten path, but it's still fun nonetheless.
Nice. So, finally, my last question for you before being so awesome and generous to bless us with some of your poetry. In your long-standing career, you've had so many memorable moments. You've had so many things people point to, whether it's the Hall of Pain, whether it's the stuff with the Nation, whether it's Sexual Chocolate, and all points in between that you're so much remembered for. So out of curiosity, is there any particular match or promo or storyline or angle you're particularly proud of that you wish was more known among your fan base?
You know what, man? I've been blessed, man. I got a lot of stuff and a lot of credit for the things that I've done. My time in Louisville, Kentucky, when I came back from Canada, there was a learning process that happened in Louisville, Kentucky at Ohio Valley Wrestling. And some of those matches I wish people could have seen. You know, when John Cena was brand new and Batista was brand new, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and the list goes on of people that came through there, Kofi Kingston. There's a lot of Hall of Fame caliber guys that came through that system, myself and the Big Show included. And it was, you know, some of those matches I wish people would be able to see, but you know, a lot of that stuff wasn't recorded, but the ones that are, I guess you'd have to contact Ohio Valley Wrestling and see if you can get the footage.
Well, I know I'll definitely know where I'll be firing a fax off to, you know, reaching out to the underground tape traders, because, yeah, that whole era sounds, you know, absolutely tremendous. Like it's around like the 02 part, right? Like, roughly?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
2000, between 99, 2000, and 2001.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for this, and thank you for being up for doing a poem. So, Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, and I'm fairly certain this also means world's strongest poet. The floor is yours.
Well, since people know me from the one that I read about Owen Hart and just not releasing something new until the book comes out, I'll do the burn when you cry. Burn comes when you cry. It starts to come when someone dies. You feel the pain as your eyes swell and tears fill up in the wells. It starts to choke you up and words come out slow and shaking. You close your eyes and wonder why, that there's a burning when you cry. I felt it burn when Owen died. It felt like hands around my throat. I couldn't talk, I couldn't see as the burn overwhelmed me. My heart is heavy, and this is why you get the burning when you cry. It digs down deep. You cannot sleep. You toss and turn in your sheets, awaken with sobs and wet pillows, wondering aimlessly, looking to the sky. You feel the burning when you cry. And that was 2000 when Owen passed, and he fell in Kansas City. You know, we were real close. We rode together. He was actually driving in the car with me the night that he passed. And, you know, I'm really, really close to his family. I think about him all the time, and I'm able to see Natty and TJ, and I still talk to Brett and his family. So it's one that stays close to me.
Wow, I have goosebumps on my goosebumps right now. That is, and you just brought me right back to the night that you did that on USA, and thank you for sharing that with me and with us. That's really amazing.
I appreciate it, man. Hopefully I get to see you while I'm out there in Minneapolis.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Mark Henry, thanks so much. Thanks for being the best.
All right, man. I appreciate you.